there everyone, how are you doing? Joe Marin here from MobileCupOfJoe.com. In this episode of MobileCupOfJoe, I'm going to be giving you my full video review of the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD. The Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD is still the longest lasting 4G LTE smartphone, at least in terms of battery life, with its ginormous 3,300 mAh battery, packed in this beautiful 4.7-inch Super AMOLED display with its gorgeous Kevlar backing. And look how very thin that is. This is a very sexy device, probably one of the sexiest Android handsets we have reviewed today, and is really overall a pretty fantastic phone. So you want to learn more about this long-lasting 4G LTE powerhouse right here, then keep watching this here video review. But guys, before we go any further, please go ahead and grab that coffee cup, fill it up, bring it over, and sit on down. Take a swig for a Mobile Cup of Joe. Alright, before we get too far in this video review, I'd like to give a big thank you and shout out to our friends over at Motorola for hooking us up with the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD. It's because of companies like Motorola that make Mobile Cup of Joe possible by allowing us to get their products to unbox and review for you guys, our fans. So big thanks to Motorola for the Droid RAZR MAXX HD, and let's get started with this review. So as is all of our other video reviews, we're going to start out this review by talking about some quick design and build quality aspects of the Droid RAZR MAXX HD. We're going to start that off by taking a quick tour around the phone. So the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD is 5.19 by 2.67 by 0.36 inches, and it weighs in at 5.54 ounces. On the front of the device, you have your 4.7-inch Super AMOLED display. Below that, you have your Verizon Wireless logo. At the top, you have a Motorola logo. On the top, you also have your screen light adjustment right there, along with your 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. And on the bottom, you also have a speaker right here below your Verizon logo. On the left-hand side of the device, you have your slot here where your micro SIM card is, as well as your micro USB and micro HDMI ports. On the bottom of the handset, you have two screws for taking the back of the phone off if you wish, and also gives it a nice kind of industrial look and feel. On the right of the handset, you have your power/lock button, along with your volume rocker. On the top of the phone, you have your 3.5mm headphone jack, and on the back, you have your 8-megapixel camera with LED flash, a microphone there. You have your speaker grill next to that, Motorola logo, 4G LTE logo, and Verizon Wireless logo. Now, on the front, along with your 4.7-inch display, it is also made of Corning Gorilla Glass. The back of the handset has a DuPont Kevlar backing, and the entire phone has this water-repellent nano coating, which make this extremely durable. So, you know, if you can just drop it on your table or drop it on the front, this thing is going to survive anything. Especially with that water-repellent nano coating, you can take this to the pool or to the beach, and you won't have to worry about it getting damaged from water splashing. Now, this doesn't mean you can dunk the phone and submerge it fully in water, but it can take a splash or two and not get totally damaged. Now, along with it being very reliable and very sturdy, it's also a very sexy device. It feels extremely great in the hands. It's got just enough weight to where it's not super heavy and it's going to wear your hand down, but it also does not weigh too light to where you're going to forget it's in your pocket. It feels very well made, and this Kevlar backing, and along with giving it nice protection from the outside world, dust and whatnot, it also makes it feel very premium feeling. Nowadays, with a lot of smartphones, it seems like they have this plastic design, so it's nice to see this very, very great feeling Kevlar backing on the handset. So overall, I was extremely impressed with the design and build quality. Easily one of the best designed handsets I have ever used to date. Now moving on to some hardware of the Droid RAZR MAXX HD. So under the hood, in terms of processing speeds, we're going to take a quick look at our quadrant benchmark test. We're going to go to that, and we're going to run our full benchmark on camera, like we always do. And while that's doing its thing, let me tell you about the hardware specifications or processing specifications the MAXX HD has. So in terms of processing speeds, you have a 1.5 GHz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, along with 1 GB of RAM. So in my testing, I found that the processing speeds were pretty good. If you're going to play games like Temple Run or Angry Birds or Fruit Ninja, lighter games like that, you're not going to have any issues. All those games ran fine for us. When I played a game, though, called Vector, which we will play in this video review, I had a lot of screen tearing issues. So we'll get into that in a bit, but you can see that this is just running through its quadrant benchmark test we'll zoom in a touch so you can kind of see it more in the phase of adjusting the light. Moving on to our little moon phase right here. But while it's doing that, I also found some lag when swiping through the home screens of the MAXX HD. But I believe this is more due to Motorola's custom skin they layer over Android, but I'll also get into that a bit later in the review. So the benchmark is complete. We're going to proceed with our results. And we got a score of, what did we get a score of? We got a score of 4,999, just barely topping the HTC One X. So, although since quadrant benchmark speed and test results don't always translate into real-world use, let's go ahead and load up Vector, which is a free running game I found over the weekend. We'll turn our volume down, just so it's not blaring and so you can't hear my voice. And I'm going to go to the level that I had a lot of screen tearing issues on. So we're going to slide over here, and we're going to launch this story mission. And while that's loading up, you can see it's taking a bit of time to load as well. We'll zoom the camera in a touch. This is pretty agonizing right here. You'll see in just a minute. But you can see just how slow this is going. This is easily going far below 30 frames per second. This is not that graphically intensive a game, but you can just see how poorly the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD just barely keeping up with it. It's really a disappointment to see a game such as Vector like this run so poorly on a handset such as the MAXX HD. Granted, the MAXX HD came out in October, but it still should be able to keep up with a game like that. Now, as I mentioned before, I also had some issues when swiping through our home screens. It's not doing it a whole lot now, but you can see that when we're swiping through, we get some lag when going through home pages that have widgets on them. Again, I believe this is more due to the skin that Motorola lays over Android, which we'll get into in the software segment of the review, but it's still a little bit of an issue I had. If you're just an average consumer, though, that's going to be browsing the web or streaming music or video or playing light games, the processing speed should be more than enough to keep you happy. But if you're going to play a lot of graphically intensive games or a lot of games that have a lot going on at the screen at the same time, you will have some issues. At least I did in my testing of the device. Now, as mentioned before, you also have a 4.7-inch Super AMOLED display with a pixel resolution of 1280 by 720 with 312 pixels per inch. So you can see if we're going to go really far close into the phone, all the colors and everything look downright gorgeous. Super AMOLED displays are probably one of the best looking screen technologies on the market, and everything just looks incredible. The colors are very vibrant, they're nicely saturated, the text is very clear and very easy to read, and overall it's just a very, very beautiful screen and screen resolution. Now, in terms of cameras, you have an 8-megapixel rear-facing camera with LED flash, which is capable of recording 1080p Full HD video, and on the front you have a 1.3-megapixel front-facing camera, which is capable of recording 720p HD video. Now, in my testing, I found that while the front-facing camera did okay in terms of taking profile pictures or some light video chatting, the rear-facing camera I was actually very disappointed with. And when you have a lot of good light and you're taking an outdoor shot, you're going to get some decent images, but the flash on the MAXX HD is quite poor, and if you're taking an image in an indoor area where you don't have a ton of lighting, I got a lot of digital noise, and it really did not take that great looking of pictures. And it's probably one of the biggest downsides of the device overall, so it's kind of a disappointment to see these subpar cameras on the MAXX HD. Now, thankfully, the MAXX HD is an exclusive to Verizon Wireless, so you're getting access to Verizon's fantastic 4G LTE coverage, which before was not available in my area of residence. As you can see now, we're only getting 3G, but Verizon has expanded their LTE coverage to Lawrence, Michigan, which is the area that I live in. And let's go ahead and go to speed test to show you the results I got. Now, these results were taken in Paw Paw, Michigan, and you can see that we averaged out in terms of download speeds at around 16-17 megabits per second download. In terms of upload, average, we got about 16-15-ish megabits per second upload. In terms of download speeds, we peaked up as high as 21 megabits per second, and download speeds, we peaked up at 19 megabits per second. So the LTE coverage is extremely strong and is going to easily rival your home internet Wi-Fi connection. Now, the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD also has fantastic call quality. Everyone I talked to said that I sounded just fine, and everyone on my end sounded great as well. So if you're worried about the main phone part of the device and how the call quality is going to be, don't worry at all. This thing is a great sounding phone in terms of the actual phone part of the device. Now, probably one of the biggest selling points for this device, at least in terms of hardware, is its ginormous 3,300 milliamp hour battery, which is just downright incredible. I'm going to go to our gallery real quick to show you some screenshots I took of the device over my 2 weeks of use. So right here, when I wasn't with moderate use of just texting and web browsing and video streaming, with 17% remaining, I had 1 day, 3 hours, 57 minutes, and 33 seconds, which equals out to about 27 hours. It's really incredible, especially with smartphones nowadays, and especially with this 4.7-inch HD display and 4G LTE data connections. Now you can see also when I had a more intense use of playing games, with 15% remaining, I had 23 hours, 2 minutes, and 20 seconds. So this thing is extremely incredible with its battery life. If you're an average consumer, you don't use your smartphone a whole lot throughout the day. You just use it for texting, some light web browsing, maybe playing a few games here or there, such as 4 pics in 1 word. This is easily going to last you through 2 complete days of use, possibly even more. If you're a heavy gamer, you stream a ton of content, you stream a lot of videos and music, you play a lot of graphically intense games, and you're always browsing the web, you're always and constantly on your device, you will still easily be able to power through the day, and the MAXX HD has the best battery I've ever used on a phone. In the 2 weeks of testing I had with the device, I only had to charge the MAXX HD about 5 times, so 5 times out of 14 days is pretty freaking incredible. So we're now going to move on to some software specifications of the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD. So out of the box, when you take this out, if you do decide to purchase it, it is going to be running Android 4.0.4 Ice Cream Sandwich. But there is an update available right as soon as you take the device out to Android version 4.1.1 Jelly Bean, which is fantastic. There's still no word yet from Motorola or Verizon if the MAXX HD will ever be upgraded to 4.2 Jelly Bean, but you're still getting all of 4.1 Jelly Bean's fantastic features, such as Project Butter for fast home screen and application use. It's going to be as smooth as butter. I love the puns. You're also getting Google Now, which you can access from the bottom of your phone, which displays information that's relevant to you. You can see we've got the weather right here, and we can go ahead and say Google, or we can just tap that. How's the weather?
It's 35 degrees and overcast in Lawrence.
So you can see it's really great, even with a 3G speed, it's extremely fast. Let's ask her another question. How much does the Earth weigh?
Earth has a mass of 5.972 times 10 to the 24 kilograms.
So you can see it's really great. Google Now is actually a really useful feature. It's really cool too because if you travel away, sorry about the shake, if you travel away from your area residence and say you go to a town that's 10 minutes away, Google Now will see that you've left the area of which you live in, and it'll give you a card right here where my weather card is, saying that you're 10 minutes from home, and it'll give you an option to get navigation directions and GPS to your house. It's really cool, and if you ask Google Now whether you get a card that displays the weather and the 4-day forecast in your area. So it's an extremely useful feature. Again, it's super snappy, the fastest voice assistant I've ever used, and it's really just incredible. Now, Motorola did layer their custom skin over Android. I know it's hard to tell, which is fantastic. You know me, if you watch MobileCupOfJoe regularly, you know that I absolutely love the look and feel of stock vanilla Android. And as you can see here, the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD looks a heck of a lot like vanilla Android. You can see that overall it looks pretty much identical. The app drawer looks exactly the same. The only real difference is that Motorola has changed some of the icons, such as the phone, people, text, and camera icons. Aside from that, though, they've left 4.1 Jelly Bean pretty vanilla, which I just say props to Motorola I love it when these manufacturers don't mess around with Android too much. But Motorola did tweak Android, but they did do it for the better. If we slide all the way to the right, we get our quick settings, which gives us access to our phone ringtone, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, mobile data, airplane mode, phone lock, or if you want to go to our full settings. A lot of the times in manufacturer skins, such as LG's Optimus 3.0 user interface or Samsung's TouchWiz user interface, the quick settings are at the top of our notification bar, but I actually really liked how Motorola laid it to the right of the phone. It just looked very clean, and I really did appreciate the location of it. Now, with the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD with Motorola's custom skin, you also get these circle widgets right here. Circle widgets is actually probably one of the coolest widgets I have ever seen. So you see, we have 3 individual widgets. One is a clock, one is the weather forecast, and another shows us our battery life. Now, you may think, you know what, that's pretty cool, but I can get that information from other widgets. What's really cool about the MAXX circle widgets is that you can flip them to show different things. So if we flip the clock one, we get an analog clock or a digital clock. If we flip the weather one, we get different locations, and voice cracking. But you see, I added Paw, Lawrence is my current one that texts where my location is, and you can also add as much cities as you would like. If we flip our battery one, we can click on the settings icon to adjust the settings for our circle widgets, and you can see that if you get a new text message, a voicemail, or missed call, they will display in your circle widgets and will display where your clock is. And if we flip that again, we get a nice effect of what our battery life looks like. And if we tap on our battery icon, it shows us where our battery is at. So I really was impressed with circle widgets. The only real downside with it though is that it cannot be used on third-party launchers such as Vira Launcher or Go Launcher, any other launcher really that you find on the Google Play Store. And also, you can only have one maximum per your home screens. So, you know, you can't have one circle widget here and another circle widget here. You can only have one total. Now, like I mentioned before, I did find some lag when swiping through the home screens. While you can kind of see it now when I go to these screens that have the widgets, when it first loads them up, it's kind of slow, but after it does, it runs pretty smooth. Just through my day-to-day use, and I've swiping through home screens and my applications, I found that it tended to lag just a little bit. It's absolutely nothing game-breaking, but I did notice it, and I do believe it's due to the fact of the skin that Motorola does have layered over Android 4.1. Now that does bring us to my final verdict of the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD. So the MAXX HD is an incredible phone. The biggest selling point is its huge 3,300 mAh battery, but you're also getting pretty good processing speeds, you're getting a glorious 720p HD display, and it has one of the best designs we've ever seen on a smartphone. Unfortunately though, it is marred by some pretty normal subpar cameras, got a teensy bit of lag when you're swiping through your home screens, and the processors are not going to keep up with really graphically intensive games or games that have a lot going on the screen at the same time. With that all said though, I'm going to be giving the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD a 9 out of 10. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 because this is, when it comes to the end of the day, I really just want a smartphone that's going to last me throughout the day. The fact that it does that, it's got good processors, Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, really beautiful 720p HD display, and an incredible design for only $99 with a 2-year contract currently on Amazon.com for the 16GB flavor. It's an incredible deal. We docked at a point just because of the subpar cameras, but this is an incredible device. You'd be crazy not to get it. If you need a smartphone to last you through the day, you're really concerned about battery life, the Droid RAZR MAXX HD is definitely the way to go. So that's my full review of the Motorola Droid RAZR MAXX HD. Do you have a Droid RAZR MAXX HD? Do you plan to get one? What do you think about my review? Comment below and let me know in the great old comments below. And if you have the MAXX HD, make sure to give it a thumbs up so we can see everyone out there that has their MAXX HD, and let us know how you think about it in the old comments below. But that is all we have for this episode. Again, if you did like the video, please go ahead and hit the like button if you liked it. It takes 1 second to do so. It really does help support the show. And if you want to show your support towards the show even more, I'd really appreciate it if you'd go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more MobileCupOfJoe videos. And you guys all know that MobileCupOfJoe is everywhere on the web. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. And don't forget to check out our website at www.mobilecupofjoe.com for your latest mobile technology news. Head on over to mobilecupofjoe.com/rankings machines. To vote for your favorite Android smartphone, head on over to MobileCupOfJoe.com/deals to get the latest deals on some of your favorite tech accessories. And when you go to MobileCupOfJoe.com, hit on the Join the Crew tab and fill out an application to become an official MobileCupOfJoe crew member. I am Joe Marin from MobileCupOfJoe.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. We filming? There's no one. Oh crap, we're filming. Hey there everyone, how are you doing? Joe Marin here from MobileCupOfJoe. We'll just start it over from the beginning. Oh my god.